Let's get started with our first big story, and this one comes straight from the reigning middleweight champion, Dricus du Plessis. He's making it clear that he believes it will be hard for Khamzat Chimaev to figure out his style. But here's the twist, Dricus says, the reason is because even he doesn't fully understand it himself. Speaking to the media, du Plessis explained that Chimaev hasn't really faced an opponent quite like him. Sure, he fought at middleweight before, stepping in on just 10 days' notice to face a bigger guy. And yes, he had that impressive win over Robert Whittaker, a performance that undeniably earned him his title shot. But du Plessis says when you look at the size difference between him and a fighter like Whittaker, it's not even close. It's a whole different ballgame. Now Chimaev is stepping into a 5-round fight, and Dricus has already proven he can go absolutely crazy for a single round or push the pace relentlessly for all 5. That, he says, is what makes his style unique. He's not a fighter who comes in with a simple, predictable approach. He adapts on the fly. He reacts to whatever is happening in the cage. Trying to figure out my fight style, Dricus says, is going to be hard because I'm not even 100% sure how it works. But don't mistake that for randomness. According to him, everything he does is calculated. He just doesn't operate within the traditional system where you can label a guy as a good jab striker or a strong grappler. He fights based on what his opponent gives him in that moment. Du Plessis believes this is the future of the sport, true adaptability. He can't go into a fight saying I'm definitely going to take this guy down or I'm just going to strike with him. Instead, he studies the moment, assesses the opportunity, and executes. That, he says, is what makes a champion, the ability to adjust instantly under pressure. He explained that sometimes he might have a whole fight camp focused on striking, but if the moment comes to take his opponent down, he'll do it without hesitation. And other times it's the opposite, training for grappling, yet striking when the chance is there. This ability to seamlessly switch tactics is what he believes sets him apart from everyone else. And there's another aspect he feels people don't talk about enough, his power. Not just punch power, but raw physical strength. Many times, he says, that's been underestimated. Sure, maybe Chimaev hits really hard, but du Plessis insists the one thing that truly separates him from everyone in his division, and the entire roster, is his will to win and his refusal to ever give up. No man can break me mentally, he declares. I will never break. That mental toughness, he says, is the real reason he's a world champion. For him, it's not just about skills, it's about the unshakable mindset that no matter how bad things get in a fight, he will keep pushing until the very end. And if Chimaev plans to figure him out, well, du Plessis is ready to make sure that's going to be a very, very difficult task. Moving on to our next big story, and this one revolves around Arman Tsarukyan, a man with enormous ambitions in the UFC's stacked lightweight division. For years now, Tsarukyan has been seen as one of the most dangerous young contenders in the sport, and recently he made his intentions crystal clear. If he wins the lightweight title, his next move won't be chasing money fights or switching divisions. No. His plan is to wait for Islam Makhachev. The history between these two fighters runs deep. Back in 2019, a young and relatively unknown Tsarukyan made his UFC debut against Makhachev, who at the time was already building a reputation as Khabib Nurmagomedov's protégé. The bout went the distance, with Makhachev winning via unanimous decision, but the fight was far more competitive than most expected. Even in defeat, Tsarukyan's performance that night turned heads, showing he had the grit, wrestling skill, and striking IQ to compete with the best. Since then, their careers have gone in different directions. Makhachev has risen to become the lightweight champion and one of the pound-for-pound best fighters on the planet, while Tsarukyan has been steadily climbing the ranks, earning victories over top contenders and proving himself as a legitimate threat to anyone in the division. But for Arman, that loss in 2019 still lingers, not as a setback, but as fuel. In a recent interview, Tsarukyan opened up about what's been driving him forward. If he can defeat Ilia Topuria and capture the belt, his mission is simple: defend it as much as possible and work toward becoming the greatest fighter in the world. He isn't shy about saying it, greatness is his goal, and he's willing to put in whatever work is necessary to achieve it. He spoke passionately about the sacrifices he makes for the sport. I know how I work, how I dedicate myself to this sport, Arman said. I love it so much, and I give everything to it. It's gotta pay off. To him, being a champion isn't just about having the belt, it's about proving he's the best in every area: skill, mindset, conditioning, and heart. When asked about a potential rematch with Makhachev, There was no hesitation. Tsarukyan said he'll be waiting for Islam at 155 pounds. If the reigning champion ever decides to return from welterweight or take another run at defending the lightweight belt, Arman will be there, ready for the fight he's been preparing for since his UFC debut. This is a matchup fans have been talking about for years. The first fight was a glimpse of what could be, but both fighters have evolved significantly since then. Tsarukyan has sharpened his striking, refined his wrestling transitions, and developed the kind of relentless pace that breaks opponents. Makhachev, on the other hand, has become even more dominant, blending high-level sambo with improving stand-up skills and unmatched fight IQ. A second meeting between these two wouldn't just be another title defense, it would be a high-stakes collision between two elite fighters with unfinished business. And Arman Tsarukyan is determined to make sure that day comes. And now on to some breaking UFC 319 news, and unfortunately this isn't the kind of update fans were hoping for. Two fights have been cancelled at the last minute, and while both are expected to be rescheduled, it's still a blow to the event's lineup. First up, King Green, who many fans will remember was formerly known as Bobby Green, has pulled out of his scheduled fight against Diego Ferreira. The reason? Still undisclosed. According to the UFC, this matchup isn't gone forever. The plan is to rebook it for a future date, but for now it's officially off UFC 319. Diego Ferreira, for his part, made it clear that the cancellation didn't come from his side. Speaking to BJPenn.com, he revealed that his weight cut was perfectly on track. At the time of the news, he was already at 62 pounds, well within striking distance of the lightweight limit. That makes it obvious the fight's collapse had nothing to do with any last-minute weight issues for Ferreira. As for King Green, he's been silent about the specifics. No interviews, no explanations. However, he did post a short cryptic message on his Instagram story late last night, writing, "No one will understand my pain, my strength, or my journey." It's a message that hints at something deeply personal going on, but without further context, fans are left guessing. Whatever the reason, it's clear this wasn't an easy decision for him, and the MMA community will be watching closely for any further updates. The second cancellation is also a frustrating one, and it hits the Ultimate Fighter finale. The planned bout between Daniel Danchenko and Rodrigo Cezinando has been called off after Cezinando reportedly suffered an ankle injury during training camp. Injuries are an unfortunate reality of MMA, and this one comes at a particularly bad time. The 2F finale isn't just another fight, it's a career-changing moment. A stage where fighters have the chance to win not just a match, but potentially a UFC contract, and a surge of fan recognition. Both fighters had been preparing for months for this opportunity, and now they'll have to wait. The UFC has stated that the plan is to rebook this matchup for an upcoming event, with September 13th being the target date. That gives Cezinando time to heal up, and it also gives both men a chance to walk into that fight at 100% instead of risking their careers by competing while injured. While it's never ideal to lose fights from a card, especially so close to the event, the silver lining here is that both matchups are expected to happen eventually. It's not a case of never, just a case of not yet. So, to recap, Dricus du Plessis is brimming with confidence ahead of his clash with Khamzat Chimaev, believing his unpredictable, ever-changing style will be the key to victory. Arman Tsarukyan is laser-focused on capturing the lightweight title and waiting for a rematch with Islam Makhachev. And UFC 319, it just lost two fights, King Green versus Diego Ferreira and Daniel Danchenko versus Rodrigo Cezinando, but both should be back on the schedule soon. The MMA world moves fast. One day you're looking at a stacked card, and the next, injuries and personal matters force last-minute changes. But that's part of what makes this sport so unpredictable and so addictive. In the UFC, everything can change overnight, and fans will be there for every twist, every setback, and every triumphant return.